Watch with Anderson TV here with Samantha Pankel. Samantha, what in the world do you have going on here today?
Today, we have the City of Anderson Car Show, and it's in affiliation with the Little 500.
Right.
So we have all the funds are going to the Historical Society, and we have, I think, almost 30 cars here, and we are ecstatic because we didn't know how the weather was going to be.
Right.
But it's held off.
That's been a little dicey, hasn't it? I've been crossing my fingers and toes for you.
Me too. We got lucky.
So tell me, 30 cars, first year, that's fantastic. What kind of cars have you seen come through here?
We have seen a lot of different cars come through from a lot of different years, so we love how much of a variety it is.
Right.
And we have 30 cars, and we're hoping to get more next year, but the quality of cars that we have this year is just amazing. We have Robert Roof, his grandson, I believe, brought the car that was built here in Indiana. I mean, we have some amazing cars here.
Great. So what does the festivities today entail?
Well, we are starting with registration, and that's going to go until noon, and it's almost noon now, so we're almost cutting that off. We have some great awards. We have the People's Choice, Best of Show, and we're also giving away plaques for the top 20. The first 100, which I don't think we're going to get 100 today, but get a dash plaque.
Sure.
And we also have music on the stage, and that's provided by Kettle Top, and Kettle Top's also doing an amazing breakfast buffet for us,
I
and Bloody
saw that.
Mary
I'm
bar,
headed
mimosas.
over.
You got to go over there and check it out. So Kettle Top's been a real big part of this too.
Great. So
great.
Sponsors for the event, since we mentioned Kettle Top. Kettle Top's been a sponsor.
Kettle Top has been a sponsor. Madison County Visitors Bureau is a sponsor. Of course, the Historical Society has helped out. This is for them, and we're very excited to be working with them on this nonprofit.
Great program.
The Little 500, Nancy Anderson, has been a huge help, and we are just so thankful. Of course, the City of Anderson and Mayor Broderick has been instrumental in making this whole thing happen. So we're very thankful that he's on board with us too.
Yes, wonderful. Well, it's going to be a fun day. I can already tell. Lots of fun folks out here, great energy, and we're just going to enjoy it.
All right. Well, thank you, Darla.
With Melody Hall, and she is the president of the Madison County Historical Society, to whom the proceeds from this event go.
Very generous. Yes,
okay,
we
so
appreciate that.
Great. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, the Historical Society is preparing a museum room upstairs on the second floor of our building. Madison County needs a museum all to itself, and it doesn't have one. Various other little towns in our county have their own little museum, but we want one that encompasses all Madison County. Everything made in Madison County, we hope to exhibit there. And just based on the things that we have out right now, that is a draw for tourists, not just in the region, but we've had people from New York, from Washington and California, from Texas, come here, research their genealogy because they descend, and then they want to see the right cut glass or the Aladdin lamps. And we'll show them one or two examples, but we've got 300. We can't display them well. So we're going for a museum to showcase those beautiful things made in Madison County, the history. We're so rich in it, you know.
Right, we really are.
We really
are.
That's
phenomenal. I'm so glad to hear that all of that is happening and that's in the works.
Yes, and this money that we get from there, from this show, we will put that in that category. It will be added to the museum room.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yes.
So today, how do you think it's going?
For the first show of the new management. The redo on this little 500 car show,
Right.
I'm calling it a success because of all of the situations we had to deal with, and we have 30 cars, almost 30 cars, and beautiful cars,
Right.
quality cars, historic cars like the Laurel that was actually made here in 1917 in Anderson. The grandson of the maker very graciously brought it out, drove it in, and you can see all the little pistons and everything.
Everything
going. Oh,
firing.
yes. Oh, gosh. What a credit he is, yes.
How many years has it been since they've had a little 500 car show?
Oh, well, they had several of them down Main Street, like we hope to do this one, because that is what works. And then there were several years when they tried it at different locations, and frankly, that,
Right.
yeah,
It just didn't
help.
work after
it
that.
It just didn't
Yeah.
work. And there have been several years where there has been nothing. So we decided to crank it on and let's see what happens here. And we appreciate all of the fine car show enthusiasts who have brought their six-figure restorations
Yes.
down here in
Yes.
possible rain, and we
Yeah.
really appreciate their participation.
Yeah, there's amazing cars here. I've been
Yeah,
impressed.
yes, mhm.
And speaking of
Across-
being impressed,
Oh,
this is your car?
this is my car. That's why they asked me to be on the committee for a while here.
Tell me about it.
It's a one-family-owned car.
Oh, my.
My husband ordered it when we were first dating. It's a 1970 Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme convertible. He ordered it muscled with a 350 high-performance engine, 4-barrel carburetor, dual exhaust, Hurst shifter on the floor. And I restored it as originally ordered. And I'm sure Tom is proud of me.
Yes, I'm sure he
Yeah.
is as well.
And I've enjoyed it so much going to car shows. It's a whole new community of friends for me
Yes,
personally. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Amazing. What a great idea. I'm so glad you did. It's a phenomenal car.
I have a lot of very nice compliments on the car. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you
I
so
appreciate
much
it.
for being here with
Oh,
us today.
Thank you. And thank you.
Jim Roof, and we're standing right in front of his 1917 Ford Laurel Speedster.
Yes,
Beautiful car.
thank you.
Tell me a little bit about it.
Well, the car is a put-together piece of Model T racing, faithful to the 1917-1920 era, and it was this type of car that the local people, the speed people, would put together to race on county fair tracks, the dirt tracks. When the horses, after the horses ran, they'd run these cars. This car has a racing engine that was developed by my grandfather in 1917 and manufactured, sold from Anderson until 1927, when the business went out of business.
That is amazing. Everybody was telling me and clamoring around and saying, hey, this car has an Anderson connection. Go find out what it is.
Yes, it does.
Indeed.
Yes, it does. Yes.
So it went out in 27. So when did they start building them?
They started making these racing engines in 1917, and they were in the business till 27 because they primarily made performance equipment for Model T Fords. Well, Model T ended production in 1927. So by 1927, my grandfather partnered with Myron B. Reynolds and started R&R Manufacturing. And he continued, my grandfather continued till 1949, making racing equipment here in Anderson.
Phenomenal. What a story. What a history lesson for all of us. So this has a lot of worth to you emotionally, from an emotional standpoint.
Absolutely. Yes. As I was working on it, when I first got it, it wasn't completed, and I was working on it to get it running and on the street and all that. And there were times that I'd be in my little shop, and I'd kind of ask my grandfather, "Come on, give me some help here. How do I get this running?" So
yes, that's
it was a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
So how many years did it take you to rebuild it and get it back running?
I had it about 4 years before I got it on the street.
And where'd you find it?
It was a project that was started by a gentleman that lives north of town here, who was a avid Anderson collector, and he bought the racing head because it was an Anderson item. Started to put the car together. He passed away, and I bought it from his estate, and then completed the project. Yes.
Well, I wish we had all of his cars in his collection. That'd be phenomenal.
Yes. Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about your experience here today.
Oh, well, it's been a great day, and threatening weather, which is just fine. Typically, half the time I take this out, I'm wet by the time I get home, so that's not a real issue with me, but it's going to be a great show. Enough people showed up, sun's out.
Right.
I hope it comes year after year.
Yes. And I think that's the plan, and I think this is a great stepping stone for them.
Yes.
Great first year. So how often do you take the car out?
Well, of course, in the winter, it stays in the garage.
Right, absolutely.
But as soon as the weather breaks, I try to get it out once a week or so.
Good for you.
Yeah.
So you don't have any concerns about it getting damaged, or, I mean, you can probably fix anything that happens, right?
Well, yes, yeah. It's a pretty simple machine, really. So if it breaks down, I have the local tow shops on my speed dial, and so they can come get me and trailer me home. But yes, it's repairable. The only thing about it, it's like a motorcycle. If there's an accident, it's not very safe. So,
Yeah, right.
So.
Well, I'm sure you hear that from your significant other.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I do.
Yeah. Thank you so much for speaking with us and telling us everything about this. It's phenomenal. It's so beautiful.
Thank you.